Hello, everyone. I am Noor Mardam, Communications Assistant at Mentor Arabia. I would like to thank you all for attending our second webinar with Omran Habbal, CEO of Birmingham Enterprise Community and Director of Forward Accelerator. I would also like to thank Omran for giving us his time and support to present an important topic to all startup business owners. For those who did not attend our first webinar and for those who do not know Omran is an awards-winning entrepreneur and a visionary. He left home in 2012 to explore the world. He worked and lived in 6 different countries across Europe, Asia, and Africa to develop a multinational outlook and the ability to understand the requirements of the local and international markets. Based in the UK since 2016, Omran is involved with many enterprising initiatives and working with entrepreneurs, startups, and scale-ups across the nation and globally. He finds great pleasure to support and witness the growth of like-minded people in their journey to the top, no matter what is their background or the industry they're in. Alongside working with the best business supporters in the region, Omran co-founded Birmingham Enterprise Community with like-minded entrepreneurs to be one of the leading supporters for startups and scale-ups from its home in the Midlands to the nation and across nations. During today's webinar entitled How to Have a Successful Business Model Using Business Model Canvas, you will learn all about building a business model using the Business Model Canvas, BMC. A one-page chart which is essential in helping you break down your business into smaller elements. The BMC will help you ensure that all the elements of your business model are helping you towards meeting the needs of your customers and achieving your vision. For those who missed our first webinar, we announced an exciting opportunity which we will share with you again shortly. And we also have a Q&A session scheduled at the end of the webinar, so please submit your questions in the questions box. Omran, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Noor. Thank you so much for this introduction. And I'm really happy to be here again, talking with you guys. So as Noor mentioned, today we're going to be talking about business model canvas. The importance of this canvas is it gives you an overview of your business with all of its elements. We're going to look at it now together. I'm going to share my screen. And please, as Noor said, if you have any questions, write them in the chat so we can answer them. Noor, can you let me share my screen, please? Okay. Here we are. So today we're going to be talking about what is business model. What do we mean? What do we mean when we say business model? Or why it's something really important when you're coming up with an idea? You need to have that model in place as well. What are the main components, and how those key elements are linked to each other? So in the business model, it consists of 9 elements. We're going to look at each of those elements and how we link them together to have a successful business model. So what is a business model? The business model is a framework of how you create value, deliver value, extract value, and exchange value. What I mean by that, it shows you what are the elements that you have, what are the elements that contribute to the creation of your service or your product. And then what are the elements that you need to deliver that product or service to your customers. And then in the extract is the idea of how do you extract value from the customers. And that's the monetary value of like as an exchange of what you've provided. So in total is create, deliver, exchange the value between yourself and not only your customers, but at the same time, your partners or collaborators. Those who works with you, not compete with you, works with you toward the same customers for a good relationship. The main components are 4. The offering, which is your product or service, your solution, what is your value proposition that you are providing to the market, and then the customers, of course, who are you serving? Who are your target market? Who are the people that are buying into your service or products? The infrastructure, and here, what are the assets and strategic partnerships and elements you need to have in place, so you're going to be able to create the offer and deliver it to the customers. And finally, the financial viability. And here here are the two elements where you calculate your costs and compare it to your revenue streams. So how are you going to be making money out of what you are doing? Is it viable? Is it making you money, or you are in a loss? And how to calculate your costs, and what are the ways of generating revenues. Under those four components, we have 9 elements. Customer segments, and this is, as I said, this is those are the buyers, the people that, or could be the users as well. So those who you are targeting with your marketing communications, let's say, or your delivery, those who are interested in your product. Value proposition is, what are you providing in terms of a service or a product? What is the solution for the problem in hand? So what is your solution for the problems, and how do you satisfy the needs of your customers? The channels are, there's more than two use for the channels. So you use the channels of communicating with your customers, the channels of delivery of your product or service to the customers, and the logistics of your business. Customer relationships, and how would you like your relationship to be with your customers? Is it a direct relationship? Is it an ongoing relationship? Is it a one-time relationship? We're going to be looking at all of those. Key resources, pretty simple. Key resources, what are the resources that you need to have in place so you're going to be able to create the value that we were talking about? Key partnerships, who are the partners, the strategic partners that you need in place so they can help you improve your service and deliver a quality product or offer. Key activities, things you need to be doing, things that you do every day to create your value, to create your product, to create your service. Those can be like the day, you can refer to them as like the day-to-day jobs that you do. Cost structures and revenue streams. How do you calculate your costs, and how do you extract value? Remember at the beginning we said it's about creating value, delivering that value, and extracting value. So in total, it's a framework of how you exchange value between yourself, your company, your customers, and your collaborators or partners. This is the business model canvas. As you can see, it's one pager, and usually what we do when we work with a startup, we print this in a big scale, and you can like hang it on the wall in your office or in your at your room, and keep looking at it every day, and it gives you a sense of having control over what's going on in your business. And like when we talked about it last time, entrepreneurship and enterprising, it's all about developing a theory or hypothesis, testing it, and improving your approach. So in this case, this business model as well can be improved all the time. So once you have all those elements in place and you've answered all those questions, you have it in front of you all the time, you might be changing bits and moving things around to have the best structure. We're going to go into them one by one. We're going to start with the value proposition. So here, as we said, so what value are you bringing to your customers? And why, which is the problem that you are helping them to solve? Is it one product that you have, or you have multiple products? We can add them all here. By the way, how you use this, if you have, as I said, if you print it and have it in front of you, you get sticky notes, and you start adding the sticky notes into the different part accordingly. So here, for example, if you have multiple products, you have multiple sticky notes explaining what are each products that you have. And here you can add as well the hedonic values. So hedonic value, so you have two types of value. You have utilitarian value and hedonic value. The utilitarian value is the physical solution for a problem. So let's say you want a can opener. So you have the can opener too. You need physically something physical to open a can. There is the utilitarian the hedonic value. It's like providing entertainment. So people, when they go to stadium to attend a football game, they are getting that hedonic value of feeling happy, feeling the joy. So those are things that you can include them if they are relevant to your product or your service in this bit here of the value. Your value proposition needs to be clear and simple. So when you are saying it and when you are explaining it to your customers, right away they can understand what you are trying to do. Right away they can understand that, okay, this solution for this problem, rather than just talk about the solution without exactly explaining what is the problem that you are solving. Because there's a lot of you might have a lot of products on the market. They fail because they are in the market, but are they solving any problem? Are they clear of what they are doing, or is it just for the sake of having a product in the market? Now we move into the delivery of your product or service. If you remember, again, let's just like going to the let me go back to the definition. It's where you create, deliver, extract, and exchange value. So here we talked about the value, which is again all you're trying to solve, how to deliver it. Then we're going to go to the creation here of the value, and then of the extracting value, which is the financial viability of it. Anyway, delivering the value, as we said, we have the channels. So you might have multiple channels when delivering your products. You might have different channels to deliver your product and different channels to communicate with your customers. So you might be communicating with your customers through your website, or you have a physical store where people like come to the store and like talk with you, customer service. You might be delivering things through a third party. So you have a partnership with a delivery company that you're going to use their channels to be in touch with your customers. Customer segments, here you need to be really careful of like this bit. There's like one of the major mistakes when we talk with startups, we ask them, okay, who is your target market, or who are your customers? And you're going to be hearing them saying students, or and that's it, or professionals, or parents, family, X, Y, Z. Your target market or your customers are not defined by one word or one trait or one attribute. When you are defining your customers, you need to say, I'm targeting university students, first year, located in Beirut, interested in going out, having good time in the weekend. They are from certain social level, they are from certain backgrounds. You go into like in details on describing those people, because it's going to make it easier for you to understand them and understand how to reach them and how to communicate with them. But if you just say students, first it's going to confuse yourself, because students, well, yeah, but there's like school students, there's university students, there's first year, second year, third year, there's master's students. All of those are students. You need to be specific. And this is going to make it easier for you to communicate to an investor or to a partner, because it's going to be easier for them to understand, okay, who are you talking with? Customer relationships. How would you like that relationship to be with your customers? And we're gonna talk about it in the coming slides. Customer segments. Here I'm going to talk briefly about the segmentation. I would say research more about this one because it's really important. When you start and say, I'm targeting student, let's say, then you start segmenting those students into groups. So you have the, let's say, the boys and the girls. They are both target market for you, but you can segment them differently because you can send them different message than to each one of them, even though you are selling the same product. And how you approach that is by first researching and understanding your current customers in details, if you have current customers. If you have current customers, and especially if they are buying your product, not only using it, because sometimes if you have an application, you might open it, like people might be using the free features, but then there's those who are using the premium features. Those who are paying you money, those are the people that you need to research really in details, because those are people are willing to give you money for your service, and you need more of those people in specific. And to get more of those people, you need to understand those people more than any others, okay? So once you do your research about your customers, you do the segmentation, and it's basically subgrouping your customers according to similarities and between them. It depends on your product. So for example, if you are selling a makeup product, the way you're going to be promoting your product for girls between, let's say, 18 and 22 years old is different than the way you're going to be promoting it. You're going to be promoting it to those who are between, let's say, 35 or 30, because even though they are using the same product, they have different motifs and different needs of like why I'm using it. So maybe when like maybe and this is the main thing of having segments. It saves you money of in your marketing. So instead of just like putting marketing out there for everyone and not knowing how you are talking with them, you segment them and you start sending them messages according to what they can relate to. And that's the targeting. So the targeting is the bit where you are start making communication with your customers. And of course, a lot of you hearing about like the social media and retargeting approach and how that's been used, and like the personal data being used and all of that. It's all actually goes under these bits because of the amount of information you know about they know about the customers and the users. They are able to send messages that is directly related to those who are interested in those messages, who are interested in those ads or products, rather than just like saying, okay, I want my ad to be shown for everyone in Beirut. Well, is it going to make sense? It's going to cost you a lot of money, and most likely it's only 5% of those people that need to see your message. So that's the importance of knowing your customers. And of course, when you know your customers, you understand their needs better, you improve your products to meet those needs better as well. Channels, as you remember, the channels can be used for multiple reasons. So you have the delivery, communication, at the same time. Here, it shows the sequence that your channel is going to be used for. So at the beginning, is the awareness. So how are you going to be raising awareness about your product and service? How are you going to be making the customers aware that you exist? Is it going to be through your website, through social media ad, or through a billboard in the streets, or maybe the student accommodation if you're targeting students? So here you need to know where you're going to get the attention of your customers. Evaluation it's the element where you provide enough information for your customers to evaluate your product. So if you tell me that you have a great cleaning service, well, I need to know more information so I can make the next decision, so I can move to the next step, which is making the purchase or buy from you. And to make it easier for me, it's not about me waiting for you. It's not about the business waiting for the customers until they ask them for the information and then the business providing the information for them. No, you need in advance to provide all the relevant information to make it easier for the customers to make evaluation between your service or product and the competitor's service and products. And then they move to the next step, which is purchase. So purchase, where people are going to be buying your services or products. Is it going to be in a physical store? Is it going to be on the website? It's going to be through third parties, outlets. These are all different channels that people can buy the product from. Delivery, again, depends on the type of your offering. It could be online if it's a software, for example. It could be through a third party or DHL or FedEx. Those are all channels to be used. After sales, and this is how you're going to re-communicate with the customers. So you've communicated with the customers throughout the first, let's say, the first two stages. After they bought the product, how are you going to reach out to them again and maybe remind them that you exist? Maybe your product can be bought again. If, let's say, it's a protein jar, and you know that your protein jar is going to finish after a month, so you know that, okay, I need to get in touch back with those customers after a month, either to get a feedback, see how the product was for them, or to make an upsell or resell things to them. Who's doing this well right now is Amazon. So I assume a lot of you, some of you might know about Alexa, which is the personal assistant, let's say, of Amazon. I have in my place, I have one, and whenever I'm buying a product from Amazon, of course, Alexa get notified right away by Amazon. If that product is a product that can be consumed over time, and I place the order multiple times, they do their calculations to notify me when to buy it again. So I gave the example of the protein jar because I was buying this protein jar. I bought it for like 3 times. And then the 4th time, Alexa, sitting at home, and suddenly was like, Omran, your protein jar, like what, in this context, your protein jar is going to finish soon. Would you like me to order another one? And this is the strength of knowing your customers and knowing your product at the same time, because then you start communicating with your customers at the right time so they can make a decision, rather than bombarding them with communications when it's irrelevant to them. This is about the channels related to your business model. Here, going back again, talking about how it's used to raise awareness, help customers evaluate your product and make a decision of buying it, then how you deliver it and how you provide the post-purchase customer support or services. Customer relationships, mainly categorized as under those 5. So personal assistant, and this is like when you walk, for example, into Apple Store and you have the Apple genius coming to you and helping you make a decision on your purchase. This is a personal assistant relationship. Self-service, this could be by using a website to just like order things online. You don't need any help. You have that service already for you to just choose a product and buy it, or the self-checkout in physical stores where you go and check out by yourself. Automated services it's a mix between the first two. And this is where you have like some artificial intelligence in the background. When you go to a website and you select certain items to buy, and then you're going to find that the website is suggesting products that are relevant to what you already bought and products that are relevant to you. It's automated, but it mixes both of you are serving yourself at the same time. The platform is trying to serve you at the same time and providing you with some assistance in your purchase. Communities is one of the strongest right now. So right now, most of the brands are focusing a lot on the communities. We are not just like our relationship. It's not just me selling you a product, but we stand for the same cause. We look for the same ideas and the same things in the background. One like really, it was a big example in my time when at university is like Harley Davidson. So Harley Davidson are known of having their own communities. You have the drivers all together, the products they buy. It's very connected customer base within themselves at the same time with a brand. Co-creation. Great example of the co-creation is YouTube. So YouTube as a company, they don't create the videos for their platform. They let the users create the video, and then they spot the good videos and resell them for the advertisers. So there's a co-creation between the user and the service provider. And the service provider is using what you've created as a user to resell to the advisor. Those are main five relationships categories with your customers. And of course, it's all those are driven by those three. You are doing this either to acquire new customers or to keep your current customers happy and keep them engaged, or boost your sales, and that's upselling. That's when you want to sell more to the customers that you have. Maybe sell them more of the same product they are buying, or introducing new products to them that are relevant to what they have already bought, of course. So those are the three elements that we've just talked about. Again, it's all about delivering that value between yourself and your customers. As I've talked about those two, the value and the customers, I'm going to quickly, just because of the time, I'm going to quickly go over this canvas. It's called the value proposition canvas. This canvas helps you have a fit between your product and the market you are trying to enter, and make sure that your product is always meeting the needs of your customers. So here, this is the business model canvas that we are talking about today. This is the value bit, and here's where it's breaking down on how to create that value. And here's the customer bit, okay? And here's breaking down to how you identify those customers or how to understand those customers more. You have three parts. So the first part here is customers' jobs. What are your customers trying to achieve? What are the things they want to get done? Okay, what is the problems they want to solve? The pains are what are the challenges and the barriers that are preventing them from achieving this job, from solving that problem, from getting that thing done. The gains, if they got it done, if they got the job done, what are they going to be getting out? What is the outcome of that? What is the achievement out of achieving this goal? What is the benefits out of achieving these jobs? I'm going to give an example later, but right now I want to explain those as in terms so you fill them later on by yourself. In your value proposition, you look at pain relievers, and those are the things that you can do to reduce the challenges and eliminate the barriers to make it easier for them to achieve the job. Gain creators, and here, things that you do to maximize the gains for the customers. So things you do to make sure that the customers are getting the benefits of achieving this job. When you mix those two and you understand them, you come up with the product and service. This product and service basically is the one that is tackling this issue. So this product is to solve this problem, but it's based on pains and gains of the customers and pain relievers that you've created and the gain creators as mixed together. Let's have a quick example about this. So this is an example of one of our products, for example. Customer segments, early stage companies. Value proposition here is like Birmingham Enterprise Community. So what are the entrepreneurs or founders or those early stage companies trying to do? First, like they want to run day-to-day, like run the business as day-to-day. Success, they want success and growth, and they want an ongoing learning. What prevents them from doing this is sometimes they find themselves working in the business rather than on the business, so that you get overwhelmed on trying to build this product and you forget the bigger picture. At the same time, you don't know what you don't know. If there's information that you don't know, then how you get you need someone to come to you and say, you do 1, 2, 3. Otherwise, you wouldn't do 1 or 2 or 3, or you might do one of them. The limited resources is one of the pains as well to succeed and grow and run your business. So why you want to the ongoing learning and the growth, success and growth, you want them first to have an evidence of scalability, that your business can scale, confidence in yourself that you are doing the right things, attracting investors, making more sales and investments, because when they see that you are doing well and you have success and growth, they're going to be more interested in working with you. So this is at your end as a customer. So what we can do about it? You don't know what you don't know, so we're going to give you access to experts and network. We're going to fill in the knowledge gaps that you have. So if you're working in the business rather than on the business, we've had like a structured program to tackle this bit. At the same time, your lack of resources in terms of time and even like the assets or money or whatever it is. So we've created structured programs to make it easier for you to tackle those issues. Now we look at the gains. So you are looking to attract income and make sales and investment. So we're going to give you access to potential investors when you are ready at that stage. We're going to give you access to talents, so you can increase your workforce and capacity. And to evidence of scale, we're going to work on you to identify measurements, make sure that you have evident impact in your business. How are we going to be doing all of this is through our program. So here is Forward Accelerator program and the AlphaWorks co-working space that we provide here in the UK. Those two products created in response to this, but first we started by looking at gains creators. And of course, as I said, that's whether it's this value proposition canvas or the business model canvas, all of those things, guys, are always subject to improvement. So when the lockdown happened, right away, there's no one-to-one contact possible. There is more needs for, it's more of a survival right now rather than strategic. So we increased our pool of mentors. There was like the online communications. We've introduced a reframe series at that time to tackle the issues that we have in place. And this is what you need to do all the time. And here as well, the Startup Sprint program, which is an online program. Hope it's now clearer for you on how to make sure that you are providing the right value, your product meets your customer needs and wants, if you want, as well. Now, let's move into the creating value. What do you need to have in place to get that product or service or that solution out and ready for the customers? There's three elements. You need the activities that you do every day, which are the things that, whether you are at the office or behind the machines creating the product, what are the things you need to be doing every day to get the product done? What are the resources you need? What are the assets? Maybe the raw materials, maybe software, maybe human resources that you need in place, and then your key partners. We're going to talk about one by one in the next slides. Key activities and resources. Those key, they are called key activities because they are the most important things that you need to be doing successfully so you can get your product created or your value created, your offers is ready. And once you decide on those activities that you need to do every day, you're going to be able to identify what are the key resources you need. And depending on the key resources that you need, you're going to be able as well to identify what partnerships you need. What I mean by that, let's say you've created, you've stated that you need raw materials of X, you need offices, you need delivery system, you need a warehouse. Okay, you have the first three, while you don't have the warehouse. That means you are short on that resource. That means you need a partner to fill in that gap for you. And this is where this is how you look at it, by identifying activities, look at the resources needed, and then the missing resources or gaps can be filled with the strategic partnerships. What the important of those resources when you identifying them basically is like value proposition, as we've been talking about it, reach new markets, maintain relationships with the customers, and earn more revenue as a result of all of this. Types of resources could be physical, and that includes like offices, machines, building, vehicles, stores, or like distributions network. Intellectual resources, and this is more of like IP related. So those are the copyrights that you might have, things that protected by law that no one can copy. For example, a process that you've worked on, or a formula that you have, and like for example, Coca-Cola, they have their own recipe of Coca-Cola. That's an intellectual resources. Brand is intellectual resource. So Apple is one of the biggest brand and that brand adds value to the product where they can charge you more premium because you are paying for the brand equity rather than just the product itself, because the product itself is cheaper in terms of physical assets than when you put the brand on it. Human resources, self-explanatory, is what skills do you need in place, who are the people that's going to be the people required to get the job done. Financial resources, any business needs to have cash in place. The form of that cash, of like, is it debt, is it loan? Those are different bits that you can identify according to your business needs. However, as a business, you should never run out of cash. Like, you should all the time avoid running out of cash, because once you run out of cash, you are in big problems. Two things they say don't run out of: time and cash. Cash, pretty simple. Time is basically when you are getting wrapped too much around, like say your product not introducing you to the market, or you are not paying attention to the right time scales that you need to be operating at. Partnerships, as I said, again, once you identify the activities, you identify the resources needed, and then the missing resources, you fulfill them with partnerships. And this describes your suppliers and collaborators. The good thing about having partnerships, it's reduce the risks and acquire more resources. So instead of buying a warehouse and managing a whole delivery system, there's someone else taking care of that, and you just reduce the risk of yourself of taking liabilities over all of this, and you create that partnership, and this way you acquire more resources without the hustle of that. There's 4 types of partnerships: strategic, alliance, and it's basically, again, the simple example. It's your delivery partner, which is whether it's like DHL, FedEx, or Amazon fulfillment systems, where they are not competing with you, and as long as you are doing business, they are doing business. Because if you are making more sales, they are making more delivery, they are making money as well as you do. So there is no competition. This is called strategic alliance. Competition, and this is strategic partnership between competitors. So for example, you have Apple. Sometimes they have partnerships with Samsung, let's say, of getting some hardware parts to be used in their products. Or for example, in Formula One, when you have, if you watch Formula One, Renault and Red Bull, they are at the same stage in the track, like at the same level when they are competing. But still, Renault was the one providing Red Bull's cars with their engines, even though they are competitors on the track. So this is a competition relationship. Joint venture, and basically it could be both of you doing the same thing, but you want to go into a new project. Neither of you and the other business have enough resources to go into it, but if you work together, you can achieve it. That's a joint venture, and it's about working with others. Buyer-suppliers relationship, and it's basically just like making sure that you have suppliers that you trust, suppliers that can fulfill your orders on time, and not get you into trouble with your customers. In general, when you are working in business, especially when you are a startup, it's really important to have collaborative relationship with everyone around you. You don't want to go right away like competing with others and like making hard feelings or whatever. The more you collaborate, the faster you're going to be growing. So this is really important when you are just starting. Be open-minded and work with others. Don't be like, oh, I want to get the whole steak. No. You can split the steak with others, at least at the early stage, so you can pick up yourself. Motivations of creating partnerships, as we talked about, optimization and economy of scale, because once you are you have those relationships, basically you start to look at how I'm going to optimize my operations, how I'm going to allocate my resources in a better way. Acquisition of new resources and activities, and reduce of the risk and uncertainty. Finally, capturing value. So we've created the product, and this, or created the offers, and this is the value, this is our offer. We have delivered it to the customers. Now, how are we going to be making our own money? There's 2 elements into this: the cost structure and the revenue. So the cost structure is how you're going to be costing your product or pricing your product. There's 2 types of pricing. The first one is cost-driven, and it's basically raw material costing you X, the manufacturing costs you Y, X plus Y, and then you add to that a profit margin where you say, okay, I want 10% over that, or what's the benchmark of the market you are in. Value-driven, this one is more based on the customer willingness to pay the money. So your product might cost £50 or $50, but the customers are willing to pay 100 or 150. And this is value-driven pricing. Again, it depends on the industry you are at and the benchmark you are working against. and as well, for example, for Apple like has like almost a mixed approach, but huge of their operation is value driven, because the phone itself goes to what, like 100, 150 maximum, and then they sell it for 1,000, 1,500. Costs. Now, what are the types of costs that you have? It's not only the raw materials and these things. You have rent, you have employees to pay, you have all of those things. They go under two categories, fixed and variables. The fixed are the things that always fix throughout the month or throughout the time. So if you are paying a rent, the rent of that warehouse or that manufacturer is the same at the end of each month, regardless of how many units you have produced, regardless of how many products you have sold. The cost is one at the end of the month. This is fixed. Variable costs, those costs that change with the amount of products or services you are providing. And with physical products, such as like physical products like whatever, drinks or like pencil, pens, whatever it is, there's an economy of scale into it. So when you are producing 1,000 pen, the cost per pen is going to be much cheaper than producing only 10 pen, if it makes sense. The more you produce, the less the cost per unit. So those are variable costs that goes along with what you are doing. Services, for example, let's say you took 10 projects and you are providing consultancy services. You've took on 10 projects. Usually you can handle by yourself, let's say 8 projects, and you need an extra hand. So there's those like costs that come into place where you hire a freelancer to help you with it or whatever it is. So those are two types of costs you need to be aware of. Revenue streams. Now, how we make money. There's basically two main ways. Transactions, and it's one-time payments by the customers. So the customer bought the product, paid you once, done. That's it. Take the products, they take the products and do whatever they want with it. There's the recurring revenues, and it's like the subscriptions in general. And the subscription is, as I think most of you noticed, is like very favorable right now by everyone, because you are just making money from your customers over and over again by owning utilizing your intellectual resources and bits, where you have a software and it's your software and you just charge people for using it. You are not giving them the software so they can do whatever they want with, but you are just like, okay, this is a software. As long as you are paying me money, you can keep using it. Under that, if you look at the goes the licensing, so and franchising, advertising, and that's basically just like payments that's coming over time. So you are not making a full transfer of ownership of your product, but it's more of leasing it to the customer off. You can use it as long as you are paying me. This is the business model canvas with its 9 elements. I know it's a lot to go through it like really quick, but it's really important to have it in place. As I said, have sticker notes in each of those, play around with it. And I'm gonna send Noor a link for you guys so you can download this at big size. And each of those elements, you can see there's like few questions that can help you while filling in the elements. Once you answer those questions, it's going to be much easier to understand what you are working with. Here, an example of Apple Canvas. Value proposition is about design, the performance, the status, and the usability, convenience and usability. So they can get that done. They need every day. They need to do designs, they need software development, manufacturing, and the quality controls. the resources needed are human resources, physical and intellectual. Key partners are the manufacturers, the app store developers, the cellular service providers, and publishers, and other like music and television producers. And by the way, here, like the key partners, cellular services providers, why Apple created a revolution in the smartphone industries, because since the start of having phones, the phones will always comply with what cellular service providers can do and develop a product according to that. Apple was the first one to think outside the box, and they have created something, and then they forced, or they asked the cellular service provider to improve their services so it can match their product. Anyway, key resources, we talked about it. Customer relationship, self-service, and personal assistant. As we said about the Apple Genius, self-service, because you still can buy online. Customer segments, just like here when it says mass market, it's now mass market for customer segments for Apple. I would always say, as at the beginning I said, when you are starting a new business, always be niche. Be very specific on who you're talking with. Apple at the beginning, they were very niche as well. They were like, okay, we're targeting early adopters and tech savvies and businesses. So it wasn't for everyone. But right now they're at a stage they can serve everyone. They can provide a value or an offering for the mass market. Cost structure, economic of scale, cost-driven, revenue streams, sales of the product, media sales and licensing, which is subscriptions, rental subscriptions in here. To wrap it up, at the end, we have 4 components for the business model: the offering, which is the value, customers and how you deliver to them, infrastructure of how you're going to be creating that value, and financial viability of how you're going to be exchanging and capturing value yourself. Any questions, guys?
Thank you, Omran, for this great webinar. I'm sure many of us found it very useful and important. Now, before moving on to the Q&A session, I would just like to announce again, I'm not sure if all of the attendees were in our first webinar, that Omran and Beck team would like to offer an entrepreneur a free spot in Beck Startup Sprint program. It is a 1-month program that will take up and coming entrepreneurs through the fundamental steps of launching their own business. Omran, can you please provide a short brief of the program so the audience can learn about it?
Sure. So the program, let me just stop sharing here. Okay. So Startup Sprint program is basically designed for entrepreneurs and founders who just like people came up with ideas and they want to take action on them and make them real business. So what we do with them, we walk them through the infrastructure that they need to have a successful business. And that includes, first we start with, okay, what is the mindset that you need to have as an entrepreneur, as someone who's going to have their own business? And then we look at the customers. So we look at how they better identify their customers that they're going to be talking with. Then we go into the business model canvas that we talked about it here. We cover as well the legal aspect, like the minimum legal paperwork that they need to have, even between each other as a team members, and the financial options for the startups. And we end as well with minimum viable product development. So how to have, like we talked about the minimum viable product last webinar, how to have a product that you can introduce to the market, can learn from the market what they need and improve it really quick. And of course, that all includes group mentoring sessions where you sit with an expert, ask them the questions that you need, and each of the participants get allocated a mentor where they can have one-to-one training with them. And of course, you become part of Birmingham Enterprise Community. And it's a great community to be part of because it gives you access to a lot of entrepreneurs and founders, not only in the UK, but across the world.
Thank you, Amran, and Beck team again. I shared the link to apply to the Startup Sprint program. Please make sure to mention Mentor Arabia to claim your free spots. And hopefully the next round is in July, correct, Amran?
It's going to be August, actually.
August. So
Yeah.
it would be great. The earlier you send, you apply, the earlier we can select and filter out the candidates, and the earlier you receive our feedback. Now we will move on to the Q&A session. Please, if you have any questions, anyone, you can submit them. It seemed, Omran, you actually explained BMC very well. We haven't received any questions, but I do have one question that I wanted to ask you. So does the BMC apply, how can I phrase the question? So basically now we are, well, we're still in a pandemic, but I mean, last year it was the peak of the pandemic. The whole world went into lockdown. Did the BMC change like in pre-pandemic versus like post-pandemic?
As the elements, they didn't change, but of course, there was a lot of changes in terms of, as we talked about, for example, the channels. So there was like majority of the businesses, none of them were considering I can communicate with my customers through the online, or can make a sale through the online, or I need a delivery partner. Or right now, all of them, okay, now we need to add that sticker there. We need to add those channels. We need more partners to do this and that. So there was that aspect there. There was a lot of improvement into it, like when we did with the value proposition campaign. So there were like those new bits that we've added as a response for the pandemic. They might not be permanent there, because as we said, one of those changes was our customers, for example, is in survival mode rather than the strategic growth. So we need to respond to that. So as I said, in entrepreneurship and enterprising, it's all based on improving whatever you do. Once you find yourself not changing anything, you're in a dangerous position, because you're going to be outdated. Even if you are not moving, maybe you're not doing anything wrong. If you're not moving forward, other people are moving forward. So you're going to be behind in a way or another at the end.
Thank you, Omran. I think we have a comment here. Okay. Thank you for, thank you, Alexis. Anyway, thank you again, Omran, for this great webinar. I'm certain we all learned something new today. I personally never got the chance to learn about BMC, so really it was very insightful for me on a personal basis. I would like to let everyone know that the webinar recording will be available in Mentor Arabia's YouTube channel in the next few days. Please follow Mentor Arabia's social media platforms to stay updated with our future activities. And please also, I would like to remind you to apply for Beck Startup Sprint program by clicking on the link I posted in the chat. And if you have any questions, you can reach us at Mentor Arabia. I will write our email as well.
Feel free, guys, to reach out to me on LinkedIn
as well. Yes.
Just so I can, as Alex has here mentioned, this, of course, not only for like private business model, it's like even for NGOs and like for any business need to have it can be used. Yeah, thank you, Alexis.
Thank you, Amran. Would you like to say anything before we leave?
Thank you, Noor. Thank you really for inviting me here, and doing a great job yourself and Mentor Arabia. And I was really happy to be part of this, and looking forward to do more with you guys, because I always wanted to do more in the MENA region, and I'm lucky that I've started with you guys. And yeah, anything I can help with, please let me know. And the guys who attended here as well, yeah, anything I can help with, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you, Amran, and we look forward to future collaborations. Have a good day, everyone.
You too. Yeah. See you later, guys.
See you. Bye-bye.